Okay, the course has been improved in a number of ways, but the biggest way, well, one thing is hole 17. If you know what that is, way up there, the green dad. I made it about 10 yards longer because the Masters added yardage to their course. Of course, we have to kind of follow that along. But the biggest change has been hole 16, where I had a tree guy come up and cut a whole bunch of limbs off of those trees that kind of block your shot going.
Yeah.
And even if you hit a bad shot, it can roll back down, and your second shot, you can get up there to the top. What's kind of interesting about that hole, and I've had to make few changes on this, is that whenever I put a mat down, the donkeys are offended by it. Like they come over and they'll rip it out. I've already put it down twice in the last day. And they'll run around with it. Like there's a green mat, you'll see them running around. Like after I do it, they come running around and they come charging over here, each one holding onto one edge, and they'll chuck it way down at the end over there. It's like if you had, like if Steve Nash tried to make a drive on Dikembe Mutombo and he just slapped it out of the court. You know, this is like, get this out of here. They've told me that, and they don't bother with this one right here. So the problem is there's no good way to hit the ball off of that dirt. So I started thinking, what can I do about this? So I went up into the old clubhouse up there. If you remember the place where I found some of that stuff from Unifero Serra Jr. And I found this metal container that had this weird word on it. What the heck was that?
Rosebud.
Teonum. It was scratched into them. I thought, what the heck is teonum? And it was filled with ancient donkey turds. So I go down and I look up. I've got a what is that thing called? It's like a archaic Latin golfing dictionary. Okay, so any kind of archaic Latin golfing terms would be in there. I looked it up, and that word teonum means dung, or it means turd, or it means tea. So there it was. I mean, I just like, wow, this is what these guys used to use, because they all, obviously in the old days, they had burros, they had donkeys, they had golf carts that were obviously pulled by a donkey, and they had a ready supply of fresh teonum. Okay, so they could just go and pick it up and drop it onto the tee and use it. And it actually makes for a pretty good tee, believe it or not. And I can't discipline the donkeys. I have no way of telling them not to do it. I mean, how do you do it? How do you discipline a donkey? You just can't do it. So anyway, at that hole, if the carpet is there, go ahead and use it. If it's not there, I put the old teonum bucket there, and just the protocol for doing it is to take your club and just kind of scoop it out and put it down. Or there's a glove there if you want to pick it up, or just pick it up by hand. And then the fresher ones are the best, because it's a little crude. Okay, I'm sorry, but that's the history of the course. So then you squeeze it down into it to whatever height you want, just like a tee. Just keep your mouth shut when you hit the ball. So that's an option. If the carpet isn't there, then use the turd.
What do you use when you hit the ball? Do you say four, or do you say shit?
I would normally, yeah. You're right. Teonum. Okay. Okay, I got one other thing I want to talk about. This is going on a little bit. I realize you're all anxious to get out there, but one of my goals here for quite a few years has been to try to encourage some new blood in the Open Championship, because all we ever have is either Nick or one of the assistant pros here. That's it. So I've come up with this program where it's called a reverse green fee. Okay, and the reverse green fee is if I consider you a legitimate, like Open or number one category golfer or A category, that you come up here and I'll give you $1 if you play. And also, you don't have to pay the 25-cent green fee, which, by the way, on last year's tournament, that's what I got right there. So after seeing that, I thought, well, I'd try. I'm not going to try again. Oh, thanks, Gary. So anyway, that's my policy, and a few people have done it. I didn't really let the word out too much. I just did it kind of privately, but what I'm thinking, like when I ride around that mower all the time, I was on the mower for hours and hours and hours, you know, and my hemorrhoid was bothering me, and I was everything I could. So I started thinking of these different ideas, and some of them are a little screwy, but some of them are quite sound, as you'll see. So I had this idea that this could be a good stimulus package for the country. like you would have reverse green fees at every golf course in the country. And I figured out how many. There are like 16,744 golf courses in the U.S. And that's not including High Lonesome, okay? So if you figure a guy is paying maybe $40 every time he plays golf, and if you work that out, I came out to a number of like $300 million. That's not a lot of money, okay? I mean, windshield wiper washer for a Humvee for a month probably cost that. Something like that. I mean, that's about how much that would be. But anyway, and it's a small start. But what I think is that the politicians would get behind it, because you'd finally have a chance where they could agree on something. They all say, yeah, reverse green fee, and then they'd start thinking reverse e-lift tickets, reverse movie for baseball stuff and all that. So I think it could take off. And if it does, remember where you heard it.
Right here.
Because, I mean, the thing is most politicians, not most, I'm sorry, all politicians, the day they're sworn in, what are they thinking about? How do I get reelected? Okay, I mean, that's it. That's the main goal of any of those guys. So they'll have a chance to get reelected because they'll do something popular. So, anyway.
Stayed for president.
Stay for president. So here's another thing I have. Here's another thing I have that you probably don't know about. All politicians nowadays have a program that's made up by, what's Larry Ellison's company? Oracle. And it's called What Do I Believe? Okay? And anytime there's a controversial thing, this thing is set up into a huge database within their area. And all I got to do is put in what the problem is, and they're told, like, what do I believe? 53% means you get reelected. Yes, 47% no. So it makes it automatic. So when they punch in the golf reverse fee and all that, guaranteed it would come up 60% yes, whatever. So they'd be able to vote for it. Anyway, that's probably a screwy idea. Okay, that's about it. I've got to talk about the rules a little bit. They're all the same rules. You have the relief out of the drainage ditches. You have, let's see, I'm 16. I'm still allowing you to bump the ball, even though that fairway's getting a lot better. You can pull the broom if it's in front of your ball. Any dead wood you can take out.
What would Christian do?
Matt's pushing for that rule. What would Christian do? But we can't do that, okay? We can't do that. And that reminds me also, there are no jumbos today because the fairway is in great shape. You can't stick behind the ball and improve your lie by doing that, okay? That's a jumbo as hockey. We're not doing that rule. You can do a TC chin, which is a double or triple hit. When you hit it, sometimes you happen to have a habit of doing that. But
can you knock down a weed?
You can knock down a weed as long as it's a broom or a what's that other thing called? Coyote brush. That's it. And if it's dead, you can move that out of your way. And it's dead before you break it.
Not assume dead.
Not assume dead. You can't break it and say it's dead, and then I'm going to move it. Okay, and I also like the guides. Make sure you know who your guide is, and get your scorecards up here. Let's see. Yeah, that's about it. Are there any questions at all? Does anybody have any questions about the tournament today? I think you'll have a great time out there. You're going to be amazed at how nice it is.
You good eating that, Holden? Yeah.
So with the guides, get their scorecard, okay, and write the names in. Make sure you know where your hole is to start. Yeah, this is Jeff right here. You're playing. Who's our guy? You? Is that the guy?
I played it once about 12 years ago.
I think Gary. What are we starting? 7.
All right. Who's the guy?
You.